In the game of real estate, are you competent or incompetent? Only you know that. And if you're competent, are you conscious? Demmings model, or I like to call it Demmings Rule. And so Edward Deming was a philosopher in the art of business. It talks about individuals being competent, incompetent, consciously competent or unconsciously competent, or vice versa. So this is really, I think, what helps us understand why some people succeed in real estate, in life, business, how they value the gift that they've been given, and how they treat it. So we're gonna talk about 4 golfers. These 4 golfers, they all show up at the golf course to hit a round of golf. And so the incompetent, unconscious golfer shows up 1 minute before tee time. In fact, he's running to the tee box to tee off. He hasn't eaten properly. He doesn't even know if he's got a full sleeve of balls with him. He's just going to golf. He gets on the first tee, he puts his ball on a tee, he grips it, he rips it. What happens? It goes into the woods. He's a horrible golfer, and it is sliced into the next fairway. Then we have the competent, unconscious golfer. This golfer, he's gifted, he's talented. He shows up, again, 1 minute before tee time. He runs to the first tee, brings out his favorite Titleist, tees it up, grips it, rips it, puts it right down the fairway, right where you'd want it, because he is a gifted golfer. He doesn't have to practice. It just comes naturally to him. So you've got the incompetent, unconscious golfer that doesn't practice, can't hit the ball, tees it up, slices it. You got the competent golfer that is very gifted, very talented, can rush the process, rip it, grip it. It's the perfect shot, 285 yards, right in the middle of the fairway. Then we have his cousin, the incompetent, conscious golfer. This guy goes to the driving range every week, hundreds of balls, yet his talent is no good. He can't hit a ball if his life depended on it, yet he practices and practices. He knows the game better than anybody, but he just doesn't have the talent. What does this golfer do? He shows up 45 minutes before his tee time. He hits a bucket of balls and warms up, stretches, practices, tees it up because he's prepared, and he still hits a bad shot, but this is still barely in the rough. So he's not a good golfer, but he's practiced enough to kind of keep it close to the fairway. He's incompetent, consciously working at his game. Then you've got the competent, conscious golfer. This is the golfer that's gifted, talented. He's obsessed to be better. What does he do? He goes to the driving range, thousands of balls every week. Before he gets to the real game, he's there an hour ahead of time, fuels up, eats properly, practices his putting, his pitching, hits a few balls to really warm up, stretch it out, and he's prepared long before he's to tee off. He tees it up, and yes, he hits the perfect ball right down the middle, just like his cousin, the competent, unconscious golfer. See, there's no pressure. We already know that the incompetent, whether conscious or unconscious, is going to hit a poor shot. They're just not gifted to play the game of golf. But now we've got the competent, unconscious, and the competent, conscious golfer, both in the middle of the fairway, 285 out. Both appear to be great. Both appear to be able to play the game well. Now we put some money on the game. Now we play for keeps. Now the pressure of the crowd, the last shot wins. Who is going to hold it out or make a birdie or even an eagle to win the tournament? In the time of pressure, who are you putting your money on? The competent, unconscious golfer or the competent, conscious golfer? My money is on the competent, conscious golfer. In the game of real estate, are you competent or incompetent? Only you know that. And if you're competent, are you conscious? How hard do you work in the game of real estate? Are you practicing every day? Are you hitting thousands of balls every week? Are you practicing your scripts? Are you practicing the way you do your market? Are you reviewing everything that you do? Are you putting in the extra hours? Because it's the extra hours, the quality hours, that really make the difference. Who are you when the tough gets going? When the cycle of the market changes, when the market goes from boom to slump, who are you betting on? You have to bet on yourself. You better be competent and conscious to win when the market gets challenging. when the competition steps up, when interest rates rise, when inventory is low, when buyers say, I'm not going to buy anymore, when sellers say, I'm going to list with somebody else. Who are you? You have the decision to be competent and conscious. So what has allowed me to become a master at real estate is doing it over and over and over again, but not just doing it over and over again, learning, studying, how do top agents, the top pros do it, learning from the best, understanding how they're doing it, and doing it not only the way they do it, but doing a version of it that fits me, because it's got to fit who you are. If it's just a duplication of somebody else, it's not the real you, and people will see through that very quickly. So it's got to be the real you. It's got to be the authentic you with systems that somebody else is using that mastered it before you. You can't overlearn, you can't be overcoached, you can't play it over and over again in your head how you could be better, because that's only going to make you better. That's going to make everything that you're consciously working through even become easier to do when the pressure is on. But I'm going to warn you, don't overthink it. You have to still go out and do it. I'd rather have somebody that just goes at it unconsciously than somebody that overthinks it and has paralysis analysis. So there's a fine line in being too committed to the competency and the consciousness of it. So get out there and do it. But then practice it, and do it when you're not actually having money on the line. I've sold a few people's homes. One of them was a major rock star. And when I met with her, I didn't realize I was going to this famous rock and roll singer's house. And when I entered their house and I started looking at the walls, I saw all of this memorabilia about these platinum albums and blah, blah, blah. And I went, oh my goodness, you're so-and-so. And she said, yes. Well, the story went on, and I said, do you guys still play? And they said, yeah, we still play. I said, do you still practice? Like, when do you practice? Can I come and listen to you rehearsing and practicing? And she said, we don't practice. We just get paid to practice. And I thought, well, okay, but you still got to practice. All the majors practice. The Michael Jordans, LeBron James, Sidney Crosby's, they spend hours and hours practicing. Be competent, but also be conscious of where you're at. How can you raise your consciousness? Well, let's just talk about unconscious versus conscious. Unconscious means that you don't care. Unconscious means that whatever happens, happens. Unconscious means that, I guess, it wasn't meant to be. Where I would say conscious, you're always striving to make the best of that situation. So that means, how do I prepare? What am I doing to prepare mentally, physically? Am I understanding what I need to do to be the best at what that is? What does that mean for a real estate agent? That means understanding the market, knowing the market, studying the market, know what's on the market, know what the sell-through ratio is, the number of listings on the market, the sell-through rate, how many expireds are hitting the market right now. It's like really understanding the market. Then of course, understanding your clients. And what I mean by that is, do you know what drives your client? Do you know their wants, their needs, but more importantly, what is motivating them to make decisions? Is it they have a desire to move because of a pain or a pleasure? Like, what is that? And so you need to understand almost human psychology to really ask the right questions and dig deep. And that all comes through just being really curious about who they are. Conscious means being forward thinking in the tools, the resources that you use, and being, I guess, ahead of the pack, so to speak. So understanding platforms and tools that will help you be better than the rest. But honestly, serving people is going to trump all of that. If you know how to serve people well and give them everything they want, you'll eventually get everything you want, which is more business. I honed this skill at the sports shop. Here's a young, 23-year-old, 22-year-old working in a sports shop, which I just love working that shop. I was just like, oh my goodness, this is so awesome. I get to talk to people about sports equipment all day long. But in order to be really good at helping people, you needed to understand the equipment that you're selling and the benefits of each piece of equipment and how it would match up with the individual. So, if I had a brand new skier or an intermediate skier or an advanced skier, obviously that would lead you to different skis on the wall. And then you'd find out, okay, so what does the skier really like to do? Are they into bumps? Are they into cruising? Do they just want to, carve up corduroy? What is the desire, the needs, and the wants of this customer? And so that was always something I love to do. Understanding the product. Here's the conscious part of doing that. I wanted to know the product so I could help the customer into the right set of skis, ski boots, tennis racket, water ski, whatever it may be. And so that came early on. I just had a desire to really make sure that I was serving and helping that customer client the best that I could. Hey, thanks for tuning in. This is Randy. Another day of sharing the secrets that have helped me build an amazing business over 31 years, almost 9,000 sales through my team and myself. So it's not always about the ROI, return on investment, but it's also about the return on life. #ROL.